While the Avengers were distracted with Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Doom, or Emperor Doom, however you want to call him, the Mad Thinker returned with his own new version of the Masters of Evil in Avengers 25 by Jet McKay. Welcome back to the channel. This is the One World Under Doom series. Technically, this is episode 17. However, because of the tie-ins, this is not necessarily the 17th installment on the actual reading order of the series. I'll figure out later where exactly to put this video on the playlist. But for now, all you need to know that this is One World Under Doom, the Avengers number 25, aka the Masters of Evil Part 1. Previously, the Avengers assemble all available heroes for one purpose: to take down Doctor Doom. The cast included the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and even Squirrel Girl. In the end, their efforts were futile. Not only were they unable to cross the Latvian borders, but they were also embarrassed by Doctor Doom's schemes. As the saying goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. Later, after realizing that Doom's policies had gained the support of the public, the Avengers decided it was time to think outside the box. The self-imposed ruler outmaneuvered the heroes and avoided any frontal confrontation. So, the head chair of the Avengers, Captain Marvel, came up with a two-part plan to take the fight against the new Sorcerer Supreme. First part of the plan consisted of going undercover. First, they would require espionage experts to infiltrate the world capitals to reach their leaders and free them from Doom's influence. For this mission, she tasked the Scarlet Witch to lead a team of spies. Currently, Doom has incorporated special units like the Full Guard Victories, formerly known as the Thunderbolts, a secret police in charge of surveillance and capture of any anti-Doom Descent actors around the world. Along with the secret police, Doom has also incorporated other kinds of helping hands, if you will. For example, the latest announcement by Doom was the launching of his very own quote-unquote superior Avengers, composed of future versions of Abomination, Dr. Octopus, Ghost, Killmonger, Malekith, and Onslaught. Long story short, Doom's heir, Christophe Bernard, was ordered to find proof of Doom's success in the future of this current timeline with Doctor Doom as Emperor of the world. When Bernard opened a portal to the future, these rags and tags bunch came out. There's a lot more to it. You should also check out the Superior Avenger series, but the short of it is that they were now in the present serving Doctor Doom as his quote-unquote superior Avengers. They even had a scuffle with the Avengers when both teams pulled up to stop the villain Graviton. Basically, they fought over the rights to stop the bad guy. As a result of all the additions to Doom's forces, Captain Marvel recognized that conventional methods would not be enough to fight Emperor Doom. So, in an attempt at throwing the entire kitchen sink, she resorted to recruiting the Masters of Evil. If you've never heard about the Masters of Evil, they first debuted in the Avengers number 6 from 1964. Back then, the original members were Dr. Zemo, the original Black Knight, Melter, Radioactive Man, and Franz Gruber. There's been like 5 iterations of the Masters of Evil. There's no rules to claiming this team name. Every time 3 or more villains get together, they can just call themselves the Masters of Evil, as you will see here in a moment. The current roster consists of MODOK, Dr. Octopus, Arcade, Baron Mordo, Mysterio, and the Goblin Queen. However, victory will be hard-earned, even with the newly added help. As you can imagine, the fight against Doom was always going to be an uphill battle. Eventually, the fight became way too dangerous, especially for the non-power or non-enhanced people. The first casualty in the fight was Sam Wilson, aka Captain America. The team lead, Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, recognized Sam was in really bad shape in the middle of the fight, hence why she decided to evacuate Sam from the battlefield and send him back to the Impossible City against his own wishes. The Impossible City is the newest Avengers headquarters. It's a sentient city that orbits just outside of Earth's atmosphere. Once Wilson arrived at the Impossible City, his injuries were treated by the Impossible City's repurposed manslayers. We'll get back to that in a second. Despite his courageous efforts, Sam felt useless. The fact that he had to leave his team did not sit well with the hero. Thus, he began to question his place among the Avengers. After all, how could a normal human be of help to godlike beings like Captain Marvel, Thor, or the Scarlet Witch? So, the Impossible City's repurposed manslayers, what are those, right? These plastoids were left over from the Mad Thinker's attack on the Impossible City back in Avengers 11. This was a ploy from the Mad Thinker, but it took a lot of planning and a lot of time to pay off. Hear me out. Back in Avengers 201 from 1980, there was a backup story with Jarvis, the butler of Iron Man and the groundskeeper of Avengers Mansion and so many other titles. You can't even imagine how busy Jarvis can be. He took care of the Avengers, that's all you need to know for now. Jarvis was out and about in town when he ran into this douchebag named Bruiser Bronx. The guy was a public menace, but he made a mistake. He confused Jarvis for a pushover, and that cost him dearly. Jarvis stood up to this bully, and eventually the whole neighborhood joined in giving Bruiser Bronx an ass whooping, bully beatdown style. Well, fast forward to Avengers 11 from 2024, Jarvis joins the Avengers in the Impossible City to continue his service to the heroes. Along with Jarvis, we also saw that Bruiser Bronx was now working as Jarvis' assistant and now goes by Mr. Sweeney. Seems like that ass whooping from the 80s scared him straight. They even talked about it when they were introducing themselves to the Impossible City. Here's where the Mad Thinker comes in. He used pin particles to shrink a squad of plastoid manslayers inside some food that Mr. Sweeney ate previously. Basically, he turned Mr. Sweeney into a Trojan horse. Because once he was at the Impossible City, the Mad Thinker activated the plastoids and all hell broke loose. The Avengers were caught off guard dealing with these manslayers, not just because of their sheer numbers, but they were also able to combine into a kaiju-sized threat. In the end, while the Avengers handled the kaiju manslayer, Jarvis and Bruiser Bronx took care of the Mad Thinker. So here's the problem. The Mad Thinker was stopped and sent back to prison, but he did not lose. Not exactly. His time in the Impossible City was educational at the very least. He was able to map the city and make mental notes of the schematics, and he discovered the big secret being held in the city, the Ashen Combine, a group of alien villains powerful enough to challenge the Avengers. The Avengers defeated them, but now they didn't know what to do with them, so they have been holding them prisoners ever since. Now, the Mad Thinker knew about it, and that's the one thing you never want to do. Give sensitive information to the Thinker and allow him free time to conspire against you. In the aftermath of the Mad Thinker's invasion of the Impossible City, there were a number of plastoids manslayers left behind. The Impossible City repurposed all of them to the service of the Avengers, and they even came in handy when the Avengers executed their plan to liberate all mutants around the world from their imprisonment. That was a miscalculation from the Avengers. These plastoids were always in the control of the Mad Thinker, and since they have been synced with the city, the moment the Mad Thinker reactivated them, he also had access to the Impossible City's software. Thus, he teleported himself inside the city with his brand new team of the Masters of Evil. While the Avengers and the previous Masters of Evil were busy trying to save the world from Emperor Doom, the Mad Thinker assembled a different group of baddies and made them a pitch. Since Doom had convinced the world that he was good and that the world was best served by its new ruler only if they complied. But that was not the way of the Mad Thinker. He is not the type to comply with the will of others. So it stood to reason that anyone who opposed Doom was therefore evil. For this act of revolutionary evil, he found like-minded people in Mr. Hyde, Dread Knight, Madcap, and Exterminatrix to form the new Masters of Evil. Thinker shared all the intel he had on the Impossible City, and they instantly bought in. Thinker's long game had paid off. He was now back at the Impossible City. The Avengers were rather busy with Emperor Doom. He had a new team, and the Ashen Combine was right there waiting to be released to go make things worse and add to the chaos all over Earth once again. Unfortunately, the Mad Thinker began celebrating a little early. Sam Wilson watched as they pat themselves in the back. Also, the Impossible City wasn't completely out of the fight either. The city was still in control of one single Plastoid. They tried to communicate with the heroes back on Earth, but failed. So, they were on their own. Sam was still injured, and the city couldn't access any battle protocols, so they were both half Avengers, as Sam put it. But that only meant that by putting the two halves together, they could still make a whole and put up a fight. Later, the villain Madcap was drunk on champagne, skipping and prancing around the city alone when Captain America dropped in to spoil his little walk. You guessed it, Sam Wilson had the city's last Plastoid merge with his suit, his wings, and his shield to reinforce it and also to enhance his physical attributes. And let me tell you, it was a beauty to see. This upgrade helped Sam make quick work of Madcap. In fact, his shield throw was so powerful, he beheaded the indestructible clown. Before moving on to the next target, Sam collected Madcap's head because he still has the ability to do this psychotic gaze that can induce insanity in people. So yeah, Madcap is basically not dead, so don't worry about that part. Sam reminded himself that he might not have powers or enhanced abilities. He's not a god like his fellow Avengers, but the one thing he is Captain America. And there was an entire flying city that needed avenging. Back at the prison of the Ashen Combine, there's a new development. A message from Black Panther that read, "Extraction requested." If you haven't noticed, there's been one Avenger missing from action, and that is T'Challa, the Black Panther. T'Challa was sent out on a search and rescue mission inside Meridian Diadem, a member of the Ashen Combine. Meridian contained a Tesseract space inside her where she kept enslaved warriors. Black Panther accomplished his mission after some much needed adjustments. I made a whole video about that for the Planet Nerd Twin podcast. I'll link it in the description of this video if you want to check that out. Now, he was reaching back to the Impossible City to be extracted. It was Sam who wished good luck to T'Challa before he jumped into Meridian's Tesseract space, and it was now up to Sam to answer his call. But will he? I guess you'll have to come back to the channel to find out. Now, here are some final thoughts to close out the episode. For one reason or another, comic book fans seem to be sleeping on this Avengers run. I'm here to wake everyone up because this is a must read. Jed MacKay is writing an action-packed series with lots of lore and merging plot threads. When you least expect it, a plot thread from 3 arcs ago is picked up for an important moment. Who would have thought two different Masters of Evil teams would sprung up at the same time, one to help the Avengers and the other to take them down? Stay tuned in for what happens next in the One Word on the Doom series. Thank you for watching. You have a blessed day, and remember to read more comics.